Count.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hi, Dejan. Welcome to our DevJam Diaries. I'm very glad that you're with us today. For the people that don't know you, Dejan is my old friend from, let's say, childhood, even though we are a bit different generation, but we know each other. We are coming from the same country and same village. And I will let you introduce yourself for our followers.
Yeah, thanks. Pleasure to be here. Thanks for inviting me. I'm very excited for this opportunity. I've seen some of your work in the past, and I think it's been pretty cool. Yeah, like you said, we come from the same place. I moved from Serbia to United States about 6 or 7 years ago, and for the past 4 years, been primarily working in the cloud industry, working as a DevOps engineer and focusing in cloud infrastructure. That's about it.
And how is it in USA at the moment?
The USA is kind of interesting, right? Because I think, I moved here in 2015. I moved to Alaska, and that's definitely a weird place. That's a completely everything that you can imagine about the US that Alaska is not. It's just completely opposite of that. But I went through that area where that was still Obama's administration, and then Trump moved in, and then Trump moved out, and Biden moved in. And so the US has been going through, a lot of ups and downs. I think it's just the people that you surround yourself with. I think it's very interesting time to live in the States right now, because it's kind of going through that like superpower transition to just caring about themselves. So there's a lot of focus on, how do you feel? What is the best for you? Like, let's not worry that, are we going to be the first on the Mars? But let's worry, like, how do we change this so that you actually feel great about yourself, that you actually feel great for your family? It's kind of interesting because we come from the culture where, if you're pregnant, you go and you have like 6-7 months of pregnancy time or whatever that is called. We're here, that's not been the case. Most of the time, it's like you get a month and a half and you're expected to come back and grind. So it was like this just big factory. But I think technology is helping to move mindsets to that, let's worry about how do we actually feel. And it's a great time to be here because, everyone is very kind now, and everyone is just accepting of who you are. They're all just excited to meet you. At least they're excited to meet me. I don't know.
That's really cool. And is it very diverse at the place where you live at the moment? In terms of, you're not American for sure. I know that for a fact.
2 more years. Yeah, no, I'll be American in 2 more years. Yeah, so, I lived in Chicago. I lived in Miami. Well, I probably spent like 4 months in greater Seattle area, and now 2.5 years in Denver. I would say Denver is not the most diverse place, for sure. There's probably majority people here are white and kind of like moved from Chicago area or Milwaukee area and just kind of stayed here. You can see that when you go out to eat. It's pretty hard to find a good, ethnic cuisine. Like if you want to go and find a good Thai place or, a good Serbian place, there's no such thing here.
You should open one for a fact.
Yeah, no, there are a couple Bulgarian places that I usually go to and just buy some, like spreads and cheeses and things like that. But I would say Denver is not as diverse. But
look, man, I'm drinking Serbian water.
Exactly, that's the good one, right? I just have this regular mountain water, but I'd say it's a very young place, right? Denver, and Colorado in general is getting influx of young people moving here because first of all, it's always sunny here. It's like 300 days of sun. Even when it's cold, it's sunny.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, so nothing beats that, right? Even right now, it's probably like negative 15 Celsius, but it's so sunny outside. So it makes it better, right? And then everyone is just so relaxed, right? Great views, mountains are right there. You can go hiking, you can go snowboarding. Everyone is super
That's something that
active.
we miss in Netherlands for a fact.
Yeah, you guys are very flat.
We're below the sea level.
Yeah. I think last summer, that was so I mean, you and I grow up in the same place. We lived in Starcho is probably like 300 meters above the sea level, if so. So moving here to Denver and living at 1700 meters above the sea level, it definitely, did a number. Like I remember just like the first 2 days when I came here to visit my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, and we were just kind of walking uphill, and I just couldn't catch breath. It was so terrible. Like we would start talking, I'd be like, I need to stop. I just either need to stop walking or I need to stop talking. There's something, I can't do both. And then alcohol hits you differently, right? If you have one beer, that's it. If it's a stronger beer, you're done.
You can go home.
It's very cheap to go out and drink because you only need one drink and that's all.
Yeah,
But
I saw that
after,
you're
if you're
visiting
gonna
very regularly the cool breweries, and they're like very hipsterish. A lot of people outside. Very nice.
Yeah, Denver is for sure. This is the place where you want to go if you just want to enjoy breweries. I was joking because I moved from Chicago where everyone is wearing, ties and constantly stressed and constantly just running somewhere. And then when I moved to Denver, everyone looks like they just came back from a run or they're about to go on a hike. They all have like Lululemons, they all have, Patagonia sweaters and just sitting outside with their beanies and drinking beer. And I was like, okay, this feels a lot better. But yeah, there's a couple breweries that we go regularly to. And some of them have these things that you pay a yearly membership. It's like $100, and they give you a special mug that gives you more beer for the same money, and then you get better
that's a really cool
service.
concept.
Yeah, and there's like a 5 months wait list. Like you can't get in. They have limited number of mugs, and they just have so many people wanting to buy one. So
but do you need to carry your mug every time when you're coming to the brewery?
No, it's just, you tell them the number, they bring you beer.
Okay, it's reserved for you.
Yeah. They just like wash it and put it back on the wall. And if you wanna, at the end of the year, if you don't want to renew your membership, you get to take it home. It's a pretty big mug. It's like
that's nice.
like a 0.7 liter or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, for a beer that comes directly from one of those breweries, I think I will get knocked out with 0.7.
Yeah, no, for sure. It definitely doesn't help. Yeah, I think we're not going to renew the membership because of that, because you just get so drunk from, like 1 or 2 beers. It's pretty heavy, pretty hard in alcohol. It's not what we used to call beer back home. That's for sure.
There you can drink at least 10 beers and still stay. Well, if you're in a good condition, you're gonna stay sober.
Yeah, you have to practice, and that
are
usually helps.
Are you planning to live to stay permanently in Denver, or to move again to some other state?
Yeah, and I don't know, to be fair. I think we're gonna be here for some time. My wife just started working at UC Health Neurology Department, so she's probably gonna want to stay here and work for them for a couple of years. And I really like the company where I'm at right now, and markets and everything is crazy. So I feel like wherever you go, it's just gonna be insane. But at least it's sunny here. One thing that I kind of miss that here is water. My favorite city in the States is San Diego because, you're right there. You're in California, water is right next to you. You can go to ocean at any point and just like sit and, just meditate, enjoy the water, enjoy that sound. I think I miss that here in Colorado because it's just landlocked. But nothing beats sun, man. you live in Amsterdam, it's pretty rainy there. So
Yeah, well,
I know when
I'm
you go
quite
to the
craving for
islands and
sun.
stuff.
My plan is to
Yeah,
move to Spain after this, after I end my Netherlands journey, just to have at least 300 days sun, as you
at
mentioned.
least, yeah, that's that's what you want. It affects your mood tremendously. It's insane, like we have maybe like 10 days when it's rainy, and I enjoy those 10 days because I know that there are only few, rainy days. But then you're just, you're always so hyped. You go outside, it's sunny, you're like, I want to do something. I want to go hike. I want to go drink beer. So whatever it is, it's kind of nice to be sunny.
Nice. And talking about tech, how did you get into your career actually?
Yeah, so I when I moved here to the States, I was doing a whole bunch of things. I think my first job in Alaska was working in Home Depot, which is it's like do it yourself in Serbia. So it's just like a hardware store where you go in and buy, whatever materials for your home project or like improvement projects and stuff. And I had a second job as a dishwasher in this nightclub. Um, that was kind of cool. But after moving
Trust me, I'm
to
thinking to switch to something like that from the IT just for a bit.
no, yeah, it wasn't the most rewarding or, the best paid job, but it was kind of cool, right? Um, and then I moved to Chicago and got into trucking, but technology was something that I was always interested in, and I took some classes back in Serbia in high school. There was this like I think it was like a Saturday, Sunday class somewhere in Pancho that I would go and do like a couple of hours over the weekend when I was like 15 or something. So I was always interested in that. And then I moved to the States and kind of lost track of it because it's pretty much like I just want to do anything that I can to survive. And so first couple of years, I did whatever I had to do. And then in 2017, I met a couple of people and I started asking about, like their tech routes. Like I met with people that are already doing what I wanted to do, and I just wanted to learn what they did, right? Did they go to traditional schools? Did they, learn on their own terms? Did they go to boot camps and stuff? And a couple of them recommended this one boot camp in Chicago. Actually, I recommended two boot camps in Chicago. So I took like 2 months off from work. I literally didn't do anything for 2 months. And I just spent time like trying to understand what I wanted. I was like, I need to figure out what my life is going to be. I need to figure out what my passion is, what I want to do, right? And in that 2 months, I ended up going and interviewing the boot camps because, it kind of sounds crazy because you think the boot camps are the ones interviewing you. But I was like, no, I want to make sure that I meet them before I
That's a very
go
good
and,
approach.
yeah.
And for
And
all people
it was
that are
kind
listening, they should definitely take this tip from you. Yeah.
I thought it was, and they were kind of surprised with, because like I would come in with, a whole bunch of questions and I would interview them and I would literally on spot, I would like grade them. And they thought it was weird, but it helped me pick the bootcamp, right? Because it's a two-way street, right? Yes, they are teaching you, but you're also giving them something, right? So interviewed, found one that I liked, and just kind of like heads down 6 months of just studying on my own, trying to prepare for that assignment. Took the assessment test, took the interview test with all of them and um, got accepted and started doing the boot camp. Now, the boot camp that I started was, I think it was called like a full stack JavaScript. So it was, JavaScript programming language on front end and back end, and it was very traditional programmer approach, which was great. I think I learned a lot there. But then towards the end, we had to like prepare for a capstone and a final project, and we would present that at like a job fair, which was kind of cool because you get to interact with companies. And bear in mind, at this point, like my English was not really good. I had no experience in like any, actual job other than, working
Yeah,
at
yeah,
Home
and,
Depot.
and tech slang is quite, let's say, specific for its own sphere.
Yeah, so like I didn't even, and that's the right way to put it, I guess, is like I had zero professional experience. I didn't know what I was talking about, right? So I was really excited about the potential job fair because I can meet some people, I can understand what they're looking for, and then I can work on that. And so during that, 10 minutes interviews that we had for the job fair, I met this one guy who was looking for a DevOps engineer. At that point, I never heard DevOps in my life. That was the first time when he said, we're looking for DevOps. I was like, okay, play it, play it cool. You know what he's talking about. Never heard of it.
I'm your guy.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I said, he's like, we're looking for DevOps. And I was like, I can do it. And he's like, all right, great. We can schedule your next interview. And I remember the interview was scheduled for I think 7 to 10 days after that. And I literally spent every waking moment just researching what is DevOps. And, you've done a lot of research. There's no good explanation of what is DevOps. Like when you search what is DevOps, they give you this vague answers, and they're like, "Oh, DevOps is a state of mind."
You get this classic picture, this circle,
Yeah, exactly. I was like, "What the hell am I gonna tell this guy?" I still 6 days later, I still don't understand what this is. But no, I absorb as much information as I can, and went for an interview, and for some reason they hired me. I had no clue what I was talking about. I had no previous experience. They were looking for someone who has AWS experience, never heard of AWS at that time. And
wow, that's
they
a
were
spirit,
they were
man.
like, yeah, no, they were like, you look like someone who's willing to learn and who can pick up quickly, and that's what we're looking for. So we'll teach you everything. I was like, all right, where do I sign? And yeah, that was January 2018. So
4 years later.
Sometime later. I still enjoyed that journey, and I'm very grateful for that first company. Even though soon after I joined, not soon, but a year later, I kind of feel like I peaked with them. I learned everything that I can with them. The technology that they were using was very outdated, and I just remember that Sarah and I went to San Diego for just a weekend to enjoy it, because it's my favorite city. And so we were just drinking beer on the beach, and I was like, I just feel like I'm not learning anything anymore with this company, right? And that's not the place where you want to be as a young engineer. You want to constantly
absolutely.
be learning.
You want to process further.
Yeah, you want to be overwhelmed at all, at any moment in your first couple of years of your career. And I was just like, I feel like I'm not learning, and I feel like I want a new job. And she was very supportive. She's like, obviously look for, something that interests you more. And then we come home, and 4 days later, COVID officially happens, and they just fire us all. They literally send
Wow.
us email, and they're like, it's been a ride. See ya, guys.
Well, I can imagine that you saw that as opportunity, actually.
Yeah, everyone freaked out, but I was like, this is awesome. This is what I was looking for, right? This is literally
God, give
what
me a sign.
I just talked about this 4 days ago, that I wanted to leave. So so that's how I got in tech.
Fuck, man, that's really next level. If it's meant to be, this was meant to be.
Yeah. And I think, well, I'm sure that you and I are in the same place, right? Tech helped us tremendously to achieve what we have achieved in our lives, and I'm sure it's going to help us so much in the future. I didn't even know that this was opportunity when I moved to the States, right? I had no clue that I could do something like this. If in 2015 you told me hey, in 2020 you'll be working for this company, I'll be like, oh yeah, for sure. I trust you.
Yeah, it's really strange somehow how things turn out in life, but they turn out good for some people.
For some people, yeah. But I try to help as many people here that I know, and I managed to get a couple of them to follow my sort of my route and get in tech and do better things for themselves. But it's definitely something that that's literally the best move that I've made. Well, coming here, obviously.
It's very inspirational, because if you ask me, I was at the same place as you, let's say a decade ago. If you told me, okay, you're gonna work tomorrow, earn, I don't how much money and have fun every day with your colleagues, it was no go also, especially considering amount of information that you need to process in order to put yourself in one of the companies to work as engineer. It's a bit crazy. And if you don't have any previous experience, it even looks scary,
Oh yeah, it was so scary, and it's kind of interesting because we grew up where you consider work if you have something on your back and you're carrying that, and, like or smashing something. But look at you now, you're talking to cool people, and that's your work, right? So
yeah, bro, breaking the frames of what they taught us, that it's good. But actually, if you're talking now about the physical work, that's something that people in IT are lacking. After some time, your spine becomes like banana, and if you're not taking care of yourself, yeah, there should be balance between mind and body for sure.
Yeah, and I think, and I don't think that's a recent change. I think that IT has been in that idea of just sitting around forever, but I also think it's very personal. Like, yeah. I know you work out. I work out every day. I take my dog on multiple walks. We probably walk like 5-6 miles, like 10 kilometers a day.
You work out more than me then.
No, I wake up every morning at 4:30 and just go to the gym and come back probably like 6:37, take my dog for a walk, and then start working.
I know you're going for a university now. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, actually my semester started today, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, so right now I'm currently enrolled in a cybersecurity program. It's a bachelor's degree with Bellevue University in Nebraska. And that was also another very cool experience, that if someone told me 3 years ago you can do this, I would be like, no, I know of 10 people who told me that I can't do this, right? But so
never listen to the negative side. Always
exactly,
let the 1% who is telling you that you're gonna do good.
Yeah, never listen to who tells you that you can't. My dog is just walking there. Nice. But yeah, so the current company that I'm in, we specialize, and that's our literally, the design for the company is basically helping Americans get better degree, get better education, reskilling Americans, right, and things like that. And one of the things that they offer for us employees is free education as well, right? So they fully pay my school. There are some clause, depending on where you want to go to school, which degree you're pursuing and things like that, but we don't have to go into that. But so they help me get on that truck to get a degree, right? And one thing that I didn't want to do is, like, I didn't want to go from zero. I didn't want to go and learn about world history and spend semesters just learning,
for sure,
statistics,
especially if you're not going to use that later on in your life. Doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. And we're not 20 or 19 years old who are starting the university. Like, I already have a full-time job. Yeah, I already have a full-time job. I know what I want to pursue, right? So through my company, I connected to a foreign credential specialist, and they explained to me that I can move literally everything that I've done in Serbia for school here, and they will take all of that into account. So, which for me, that was mind-blowing, because every time that I ask someone, can you move your degree here? They're like, oh, no, there's no way you can do it. But you're right. We shouldn't listen to people that say,
you need to ask the right person.
Right? And so after a while, I found that right person, and they explained that, it's a process, but I had to get my exams from university in Belgrade. I had to get it printed. I had to translate it to English, then sent it to evaluation agency here. They moved them to the American standards, and they sent that to my current university. And they basically accepted. So the maximum that you can move here is 2 years of university. Basically, you can move associate degree in and then keep working for 2 more years for bachelor's degree. And that's what I did. I literally moved half of the, points that were required for my work in Serbia. And I, when I moved here, I was
that's
ready
amazing.
to just like, I was ready to just give up that work. I was like, I did go to school, but it's not going to do me any good. So
Yeah, it's in your brain, but on a paper it's for nothing. That's what you thought.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Right. But it's not for nothing because I was able to move
apparently.
here. Yeah. And so now I'm studying cybersecurity, and right now, I don't have any intention of moving totally to cybersecurity, even though I'm wearing a cybersecurity socks that I got yesterday from the cybersecurity team in my company. But I don't have any intention of like getting full time into cybersecurity. Um, but what I want to achieve is, I think, as a society in general, and where technology is going, the cybersecurity is going to be the, more and more prominent topic. Like
For
we're
sure.
hearing every day, about impact of this, attack on that, how much it
I
costs
mean,
to have a data
if you
breach.
if you look from that side, the cybersecurity war started long time ago, and now with all the
The
political
actual
stuff
war.
that's
Yeah.
going on, it's actually insane.
Yeah, yeah. So, and like the political stuff, the wars that are happening, the cybersecurity attacks are happening all the time, right? But what I wanted to achieve is I want to stay in the cloud engineering, right? I want to stay in DevOps. I really enjoy that. But I think we all can benefit from knowing a lot more about security, right?
Yes,
So
definitely.
I want to learn as much as I can and get those fundamentals, foundational knowledge. And then when I go about architecting something in the cloud, designing something, I want to approach that with security in mind as well, because
It's one
it's
of
a
the
lot
most
easier.
important pillars. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's a lot easier to do it from the start and design with security in mind than try to retrofit and come back and be like, oh, how do we make this more secure? How do we, just patch this so that we can pass the SOC audit or things like that? So school is kind of interesting. This is a shameless plug. I have 4.0, so I got all straight A's so far.
Wow, nice.
Um,
Congrats.
yeah, no, it's mind blowing how much, I guess, better student I am now that I'm almost 30 than what I was when I was 19 years old.
Yeah, because you understand what you want. There is another type of commitment. Probably when you were 19, you just had to do something to make up, something out of your life.
Excuse. Yeah, yeah. It was just like I need to do something. I need to go to schools because I don't want to work. that was that
Exactly.
was probably like the trade-off. And I know a lot of people that are doing the same, but it now and we are in the field where learning new things is a constant. Every day you need to go and learn new things. What right now, you knew probably half of it a year ago, and a year from now, that's only going to be half of what you're going to, know at that point.
Yeah, it's
So I think
exponential every day, and more you know, more you're gonna understand it. Like when you read a sentence, there are less unknown words to you.
yeah, exactly. Every day that's really well put. Every day you just you learn a lot more, and also kind of like one interesting thing. Both you and I don't have a traditional education when it comes to technology, but we've been working in technology regardless, and we picked it up on our own terms. We learn as we go. We got certificates, and I know you have a whole bunch of certificates. God, I don't even know how many you have. Do you even know how many you have?
Me, around 30.
Yeah,
Insane.
you need another wall in the house.
Yeah,
With one.
literally.
Yeah, but I still decided to go in school and get that traditional education because I think if you learn on the job, you and just on the job, which is kind of what people are trying to sell right now, then you'll know just enough to do your job, right? But
Yeah,
if you
indeed.
pursue
That's correct.
yeah, but if you pursue education through certificates, through, schools and other actual, valuable
It's
education,
very
then
different.
yeah, because then you can see farther. You can make decisions based on the actual knowledge that you have, right? And not just on your position. And I think that's important. And, that's why I'm spending I absolutely don't need to go to school at this point. like I
No,
have a
but I
full-time
mean,
job. I have a
with the
dog.
personal development, it's what you want to be for yourself, and not what you should be as a frame of society that says, okay, you need to finish one university and you're done. It's only about your own interest, and that feels good for you. Just go for it.
Exactly. And, it's also, the United States is going through a lot of issues right now with just overall student debt, because that's kind of what you just said is what they've been pushing here is you have to go to university. It doesn't matter which one it is, but you have to go and spend 4 years and you spend $50,000 just to get a degree. And now, if you don't like it, that's your problem, right? And I hate that approach. But this approach that I'm taking is I know what I want, right? I already work in this field. I know I'm excited about this. I know that I want to stay here a long time. Then I want to go and get educated. And, I want to get masters, and who knows, I might even get the doctorate degree, but that would be cool.
Why not?
But,
For your wall, wall of fame.
yeah, yeah, for the wall, right? But for now, and, the school is fully remote. So that's kind of another thing that really, without it, I wouldn't be able to do it, right? Because we have async. They would kind of post on Monday everything. They would post the material. They will tell you what you need to read in books and stuff, right? And then you have to do your assignments. You have to do your tests, but you do it on your own time. Like every day after work, I would stay extra for like stay extra. I don't go anywhere. I work from home, but I would
Stay extra at home.
Yeah, I would stay extra at home, right? No, I would just stay in that mindset for another hour or so and finish my homework, for that day. And it is challenging because, I have wife, I have dog, I have friends, I have a social life. I want to go out and, work out and things like that. But it definitely helps if you're organized, and it helps that I can do this school on my own time. Like I can pick whenever I want to do, like, because it started today, this
Yeah, I mean,
morning when I
if
came
you
back.
need to commute, spend time in a bus or train just to get to the school, and then you have delay time. There is a lot of noise from the all external sources, etc. It's very different.
Yeah, no, for sure. And so I really like where we're going, right? I don't know how, I mean, I know you're going in, online school, but with some in-person learning and stuff and things like that. But it definitely helps a lot because, yeah, if you can organize your own time and do it whenever you think that it works best for you, then you can get all A's just like I did. So I
Yeah,
don't think
exactly.
I
And
think it's hard.
I mean, this kind of revolution that we have now in 21st century with the remote work and possibility of learning remotely, it just saves tremendous amount of time, as you mentioned. And also financially, on the other hand, there are like shitloads of things that you had to pay actually, to get to school, to eat in the school, do this and that, and you cannot organize really properly, right? Can you tell me more about like in this cybersecurity school, what kind of things you're learning?
Yeah, so right now this semester I took a course called Foundations in Intelligence and Counterintelligence. So a fun fact that most of the cybersecurity professionals end up working for the government, for like the National Security Agency, for
NSA,
the
yeah, and so on.
NSA, FBI, CIA, and all. I don't have no intention to do that. I don't really like government.
It's
If
okay.
you're
I mean,
listening, I like you guys.
yeah, working for the government on that kind of level, it takes a big piece of your life. I can tell.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's definitely like a huge commitment. I do have some friends working for like National Guards for certain states as a cybersecurity officers and stuff, and it is a definite, it's a big commitment that
yeah, big
I don't want
pressure
to make.
also. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, but so the classes that I'm taking right now are focusing on like just overall like understanding the threats, right? Understanding that basically, like, one of the assignments that we have to do is we need to make a dossier for ourselves. Like we need to go online and find everything that we can find about ourselves, which if you think about it, it's mind-blowing because there's a lot about you.
There is
right?
a lot. Yeah, just type your name and your on the Google, your picture is gonna pop up from
Everywhere,
Facebook,
right?
from
And
other
not and not
social network. Crazy.
and not just, not just like picture from your Instagram account right now. There's going to be picture from 2011 of you
Everything is
somewhere.
cached.
Yeah, and so I was just looking briefly, that assignment is not due, so I didn't finish it, but it's just insane, right? So they're teaching you how to recognize those things, how to look for system problems, errors or ways to improve that. We had a class called, Intro to Cyber Threats and Informational Security, and they were focusing on things like explaining how this is working on the core level, because it's important for you to understand what it's, because I feel like we are now in this era of programming and just general, software development, where a lot feels like we're just putting puzzles together. Like someone made something and we just take it and we use it, right? Without questioning what it, how it was created in the first place. Why is it doing that? Or like, how does it work behind the scenes?
Even with open source, some people are taking stuff for granted because there is so much in the background that you don't want to spend your time checking that.
Exactly. And I think there's obviously a lot good about it because someone did it and you don't have to spend time to just researching. But I think if we really want to understand how it works behind the scenes, we have to dig down, right? We can't just take this library and call it a day. We need to understand what that library is doing, what potential threats that library is opening us to.
Sentence of the day: stay paranoid.
Exactly, right? No, I heard this. That's kind of cool. I'm gonna use it. But no, I heard this idea that security in programming and in tech, that it's not a destination; it's a journey, because there's no end to it. It's like, you need to learn about this in order to protect. You need to learn about this in order to protect. So your statement paranoid actually works pretty cool with that. So it is focusing on teaching you fundamentals that I feel like easily overlooked today, because we have so many libraries available for us. Someone already did that work. Why reinvent the wheel? But we should understand how the wheel works in the first place, because that leaves us open to threats. And I don't know what the actual number is, but like every cybersecurity incident costs millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah, for people who don't really understand this, in some, let's say, serious companies, you have dedicated security teams that are going to do the assessment of every single thing you're about to use. Yeah, for sure. And there are multiple reasons behind. For example, if you're opting to use some service which is, let's say, SaaS based, your data may be stored somewhere else and you're operating in USA or Europe. That's just one of the small things that are going to break, like rules. And then you name it, if you're processing HIPAA information related to health or personal identified information, it's very important. And you can pay, as you said, such a huge penalties that you can maybe just shut down your business today because you were sloppy yesterday,
Yeah, and you're right to bring those things. We work with student data, and that's protected by FERPA in the United States, right? It's the Student Act that allows you to, the student data is forbidden to be shared. So we're looking into expanding to Europe, but European Union has different laws. European Union has a law where
GDPR,
the data needs to be, data needs to be kept in EU if you're using the data of EU citizens, and there are like other things.
And if you're traversing it, it needs to go through the special channels and to make sure that it's secure there as well. So it's really complicated
it's
stuff.
like a million things on top of that. We implemented a couple of tools to help us with, you were talking about open source, right? And everyone utilizes open source. There's no, if you just like download a single Python library, there you go, it's open source, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and you never check the open source for any threats or any possible, things that could go wrong. So we had to, in order to get like compliance reports with, United States compliance agencies, we had to implement some tools which help us understand what are we importing when it comes to open source.
Now
So
we're
we're
talking
using,
DevSecOps, right?
yeah. So, and that's, I think, I think in general, industry will have to move permanently to DevSecOps because it's just getting so big that it can't, we're at this point where we just can't ignore it anymore. Like it needs to be DevSecOps just in general. We had to implement tools that will literally look with every PR, they will look through anything that changed in open source. And now
You're
we had
talking
to
about Snyk,
interview.
right?
Yeah, I'm talking about Snyk, but we had the tools like Shift Left. Snyk has been, and this is not a plug for them, but Snyk has been a tremendously good tool when it comes to that. They're very fast. Like we're talking traversing millions of lines of code, looking for, any vulnerable code. And they're doing that within like less than a minute or something like that, because, it's important that you don't add that time to every
Yeah,
PR.
velocity or in DevOps, it's one of the crucial things.
Yeah, and we always get to blame security, right? When we do have a
Yeah, back in the
dedicated.
days, we were blaming networking guys, if something breaks, but today it's security.
Yeah, no, we have a dedicated security team, right? And we are constantly looking to improve our least privilege approach, right? So we're constantly looking to limit what people can do. Like recently, we changed our Kubernetes clusters on the API level on who can do what, right? If you, depending what your role is in the company, you can do certain things, right? For some people that are engineers, we limited that, you can't even shell into the container because why should you?
Why
Like
would
if
you?
you
Yeah,
have,
exactly.
yeah, if you wanted to look at something, look at your source code for that container. We don't, you shouldn't be looking at live
Yeah,
container,
containers
things like
should
that.
be completely the replica of what's stored in your code. Yeah.
Exactly, right? So there's no need for you to go in and poke there. But with every new change that we implemented, developers complain, and we always offload that on security. We're like, well, we're just doing whatever the InfoSec team asked us to do. So I think it's nice having a dedicated InfoSec team because you can then just be like, they made us do it. We're just, we're just implementing the logic that they provided. But I think it's very important, and I think it is a journey. It's constantly looking back, what can we improve more when it comes to security? Because
That's what I like in IT generally, is that it's never ending wheel, basically. Every day you can see something else. And once you stop seeing, that means that your journey in that company is done.
exactly, and that's what happened to me in the first company, and it's a bittersweet moment because you feel like this was a great company and I really like the people and stuff, but I'm just not learning. And I have a couple of friends from Chicago that, with one of the guys I was a roommate for probably like 2 years. And this was before me going into tech. And since I moved here to Denver and worked for this company, he called me and he's like, "Oh, let's, do you think you can let me know when you guys are hiring for this type of engineers? Your company sounds really cool. I want to apply." And I was like, "Oh, for sure." So I put a referral for him, hoping I'll get some referral money, right? Because we get that.
Why
And
not?
I think at that time, my company was giving $5,000 if you bring, engineer and they get hired. So I was like, $5,000, I'll take it. So I put his resume, a scheduled interview, and he gets denied. And I was so curious because he has 9 years of experience, like 9 years of actually working in tech. So I was like, it's kind of interesting why, right? So I talked to the hiring manager in my company. I was just like, hey, I'm just trying to understand what went wrong so that I can improve, when the people that
Yeah,
I bring
also
in,
your own
right?
selection of people, of course.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. Because I want to understand what I did wrong so that I can change that in the future. And he was just saying that, yes, he does have 9 years of experience, but he's been basically working for the same thing for the past 9 years. Like all he does is like a C# .NET, and that's it. Like he didn't learn any new technologies. He doesn't know cloud. He didn't really change anything that he was doing for that whole time. 9 years is a long time, especially in technology where everything, Kubernetes was not a thing 4 years ago. So everything changes quickly. And so if you're in that state especially with a company where you don't learn anything new, I feel like your journey needs to end there. You need to like look for a next step.
Yeah, and being in the comfort zone for such a long time also brings this negative impact, that maybe you're not gonna get accepted. I mean, looking at the IT traditionally, you can always be a data center guy. Go just interconnect cables, right? You're always gonna find some job. But if that's the point, I mean, it's very personal, right? But we are looking here to make cutting edge careers, not to stay at one thing.
Yeah, and I've followed your career pretty closely, and I find you inspiring, and I'm trying to do and learn a lot from you. And so, we it kind of like with everything, you have people that are staying at one job, staying at that comfort zone, not learning new technology, and then you have people like you who go and learn new technology, then change job and get 30 certificates or whatever next thing for you is. That is a little too much, right? I have like 5 of them, so I'm looking to add like one a year or so. But
I'm actually
I
looking to go on a bit of a pause with certifications and dedicate my time to something else.
do a beach in Spain.
Yeah,
I would.
sneak peek. I'm planning to open the dive center actually. That's
Oh yeah, you have a diver certification, right?
yeah. And if I become the dive master, then well, I'm gonna teach something else than IT.
You can teach IT to the divers, and
Yeah,
then
exactly. I'm gonna
yeah.
hang all my certifications in the dive center and say, okay, guys, free classes.
If you take this dive class, I'll teach you how to write this shell script.
Yeah.
So, no, that is cool. That's something that I wanted to do, and living in Colorado where it's landlocked, they take you to aquarium to get certification. So that's kind of interesting. Like you're just in the city aquarium and you're diving in there. But I know you got
People are
yours
waving to
in.
you. Ciao.
They're all like, "Oh, mom, look at this fish."
Yeah.
But where did you get yours?
Um, First thing I got on Canary Islands, it was on Tenerife, and I really enjoyed it. It was kind of easy for me because I was a professional swimmer for 10 years when I was a child. And for the advanced, I also took on the Canary Islands, but at a different site.
Hmm.
I went recently to Malaga. I went diving there and had some chats about getting the dive master certification, but it takes a bit longer. It's like 30 active days of diving and getting all the instructions because then you're the one who needs to traverse the knowledge to other people, really.
Yeah.
And I think this is a next level. This is a social skill under the water, man, with the science and no talking. It's like, completely different thing. I'm planning to
Yeah, it
do
is.
it, but I need to have like at least a month dedicated without doing any actual work, for my job.
So that sounds like you're gonna take a month and a half off, go to Spain, and just hit the
Yeah,
beach
or
every
maybe
single day.
or maybe once I move there, just gonna do every weekend, full weekend of workshop for diving, and then I'll figure that out in a few months.
There you go. Yeah. So you're looking to move to Malaga or anywhere in that area?
Yeah, well, I don't know why, but all my decisions in life just came out of the blue. Like I
Like
said to
this.
myself, okay, I want to move to Amsterdam. I moved to Amsterdam. I found a job, and then Malaga somehow popped up. I did some research. I definitely want to spend a part of my life on the beach. That's
Oh
it's
yeah,
must
I
have,
know.
Valencia is nice, but I really like this Andalusian area because it's also close to Portugal and it's a bit sunny, more sunny, You have, well, I think you have only sunny days. In the summer it's a bit unbearable because it's like 40 degrees, but I like only summer in Amsterdam so I can come here in that period.
No, but I mean, if it's hot and you have water next to you, I'm sure you can bear that.
Yeah,
If
for
you
sure.
open a couple of Coronas and you just sit there, that makes it better, right? Because Starcho would get 40 degrees in summer, but there's nothing.
We have only factories there.
Oil refineries and petrol and all of that.
Fun fact: I'm flying tomorrow for a visit.
All right, that is a fun fact. How long are you going to be there?
Yeah, I'm planning 2 weeks, but I'm thinking to go a bit more often to visit my family just for a recharge. It's I don't know, like after some time being here for 4 years now, I'm finding it a bit cold, all this shitty weather, and you kind of, even though I have a lot of friends also who are in tech, but friend is not the guy who's gonna hug you and really give you, the love as your mother or sister. So I'm quite emotional.
And they don't cook
person.
As good.
Yeah, I'm quite emotional person, so I need a bit of hugs, here soon and then. So just do what makes you happy, right? And
exactly.
Then you can continue your
all
journey.
About that.
Yeah.
Well, is there a direct flight Belgrade Amsterdam?
Yeah, there is. Well, I'm a bit concerned about the flight tickets price because of the whole catastrophic oil and gas thingy that's happening, and I think kerosene is one of them for sure, coming from Russia. So I don't know how we're gonna manage with that, but let's see. My sister is also about to move here in Netherlands end of this year for studies. I'm gonna pay bachelor in information technology for her.
There you go. All right.
Yeah. So after that, I don't think I'll be missing home much, when you have someone really yours here.
Yeah, no, it definitely makes sense. If you're more emotional or less emotional, it affects you differently, but for a long run, you definitely need someone yours close to you.
You need to patch yourself, First, you need to feel good to make other people feel good around you. Otherwise, you're just reflecting negative energy, which is definitely not the point of this life. God made us here just to enjoy it. That's the
and if you consider yourself successful, that's one of the things that you put on top of your list is how are you feeling, deep down, like at the end of the day, are you feeling good or not? And
exactly.
If what you said, if you're not happy, then that's the one question that needs to be always yes. If that at any point is no, then things need to change, because everything else is less important than are you happy with this, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it doesn't matter what kind of career or anything you have. It's just
if you're not on the beach.
I always remember this good story about Alexander Makedonsky. He came to the beach and there was a naked guy lying down on the beach, and Alexander Makedonsky approached him and asked to the guy, "Do you know who I am?" And this guy is like, "Oh no, of course I don't." And he's like, "I'm Alexander Makedonsky. Tell me one wish that I'm gonna fulfill for you." And this guy said, "Just please move. You're like making a shade."
We're blocking my sun. Move.
Yeah, exactly. So ultimate happiness is just one thing that needs to be assured. Listen, we're almost ending our time, and I know that you need to continue with your work. I am like maximally grateful that you joined me for this podcast session, and I need to thank you a lot. I'm hoping to come to US and visit you, well, at some point. So let's hang out in one of those breweries with 0.7 mugs.
0.7 mugs and 7% beer for sure. No, thanks for inviting me. I've been following your work, and I'm really excited for this opportunity and to follow you in the future as well. And
very likewise. And hopefully learning bidirectionally.
Yeah. And hopefully when you move to Malaga, I can come and visit as well.
Listen, my plan is to have a house at least with 5 rooms, and there are always going to be people working remotely from my place. So
just Airbnb it out.
Must have, yes. Hey, it's a new model, business to friend.
There you go.
Hey, Dan, thanks a lot, man. Have a nice day. I wish you all the best, and we stay in touch.
Stay in touch.